South, Mrs. Maltby.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to ask the Minister for Infrastructure whether a safe crossing point needs analysis has been undertaken at Meadow Campus Primary School, what the result was, and whether it will be reviewed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last year, following a request from the Honourable Member for Douglas South, Mrs. Christian, an assessment of this area was undertaken and consideration given to the installation of a zebra crossing. And we're talking about the area around School Valley up here, Mr. Speaker. Although it was recognised that the proposal would have had a positive general impact on the environment, the impact on the community of this proposal was assessed as being limited at the time. It has also had a limited impact on delivering the objectives of the road safety strategy and the active travel strategy. The proposal would have cost in the region of £30,000 to implement, and an economic assessment determined that it did not make a good return on the investment in respect of road safety. The active travel officer has visited the school in order to try and continues to visit the school in order to try and reduce the number of children being dropped off by parents in cars outside the school and change the parking behaviours of parents and drivers, and that work will continue. I'm happy to say that I'm always willing to reconsider and have those decisions reviewed, and they do stay on the list. It's just a case of priorities, Mr. Speaker.
Question, Mrs. Christian.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate giving the update formally. I'm just would like just a little bit more of clarification on the active travel liaison officer, which you've just spoken about. You've said they've consulted in order to reduce the number of children being dropped off by parents at the school, Minister. I'm not really sure how you can do that. What are we going to do? Reduce the number of children at the school to do that? Could you just clarify what their intentions are? How are they expected to stop children from going to school and actually arriving at school? Is that what this is to happening? Are they producing them to asking them to park further down the road? Can you just explain that a little bit more? It just doesn't sound right. Thank you.
I think the Honourable Member, if that came out wrong, I apologise, but I think the Honourable Member knows that the Active Travel Group actively work with the schools and the children and the parents to try and get children to walk or cycle to school rather than being driven to school. If I'm missing something, I apologise, but happy to take it up with the member outside.
Two questions. Sorry, Mrs. Maltby.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The children of both St Thomas's School and School Valley play together, they work together, they spend a lot of time together. However, they arrive to school separately, thus increasing the amount of time that there is traffic on the road, and that for me increases the risk of a road traffic accident. Does the Minister believe that every child should have the option to safely walk to and from school, and that a safe crossing point is essential in enabling this to happen?
Yes, I do believe that every child and every person anywhere near the road should be able to do that in safety, and as I said, I'm more than happy to review this, Mr. Speaker. It is a case of there's a huge list. We get members writing to the department with similar requests to this right the way throughout the year, and it is a case of as and when we have the meetings, we look at them and decide what's coming to the top of the list. But there is obviously a budget for all of these, but we will review it again. I'm happy to speak to the member.
In September 2018, when St Thomas's was co-located to School Valley, a need for a safe crossing point was identified as a school crossing patroller was welcomed by the community. That didn't stay for very long, but it was a very welcome addition. Does the Minister feel satisfied that all options have been investigated, despite telling us £30,000 is too much money to spend and making sure that children are safe getting to school, which I find a little bit uncomfortable as a parent of two children who attend that school? But do you feel that they should just continue to run the gauntlet in order to attend school until funding is prioritised for middle present?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I believe all options were considered and have been considered and still will be considered at any time when asked to do so. The safety crossing patrol officer, I wasn't aware that it had been taken away from that. It hasn't been made aware to me. Happy to have a look at that again and discuss that with the powers that be that supply those people. But yes, I think it's, as I said, £30,000. It's just a case of finding that budget. There are other issues that come and that we're asked to do and provide, so we will look at those. But we will happily look at that again and review that with the member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd just like to invite the Minister to actually attend school in the next coming weeks, if he would please do so, and come and actually see the safety issues that we're discussing today. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
More than happy to do that, Mr. Speaker. We've obviously got a couple of days this week before we break up our term, but if we don't do it before, we'll certainly do it straight after TT.
Councillor Blanchard, this question, Mrs. Maltby.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The reason I stand again is just to reiterate that I honestly do believe that School Ballagio Meadow Campus with St Thomas's is probably one of the only primary schools on the island that doesn't have a crossing point. I don't know that for sure, I haven't been around every single primary school, but we don't have a crossing patroller, we don't have a zebra crossing, we have no safety, safe crossing points outside the school. So this isn't just about making a point for a point to say this is actually highlighting that there is an issue there and that it's not consistent across the whole of the islands, and that's why we'd like to bring it to your attention and really reassess your situation at the moment, please.
Mr. Crookall.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Honourable Member and her colleague from South Douglas have done a good job in bringing this back to my attention, and I'm more than happy to talk to them over this and review it with them. Obviously on site, I've agreed to come down and visit on site with them, and I'll arrange to meet with them both there. Thank you.
Which is question 6, calling on Member for Quiet.